this internet is rocking and rolling here before I do get into the preview for this game. But we are fired up for some Pacific Cup, Pacific Championship action. As you can see here tonight is the Kangaroos versus Tonga. Hey guys, how you going? So today on BKR Sport, fire up, ladies and gentlemen. You better be fired up. You better be absolutely fired up here. Just I want you guys to comment, however, in the chat. I want you guys to tell me and make sure that there is no issues with the internet at the moment, just because I am currently using a VPN. So I don't want there to be issues overall before I do obviously get into the preview here and do start talking about both these two teams. So please do let us know in the comment section as you do start to get in here. But yeah, man, I'm keen for tonight because we've got some international footy. Obviously, the Tongans are saying they're ready to rock and roll against the Aussies. You know, of course, it's a big game. It's a massive game between two dominant teams across the world. You know, last year Samoa gave it a really good go. They gave it a really good crack in the Pacific Cup in regards to, you know, throwing out the youth. It wasn't about the best players that they had available. It was more so about developing and giving it a crack for the future rather than now. So you've seen here, however, with this Tongan team, they are coming in with a very different approach where they do have a really, really good mix, and it is pretty much what they do want to go forward with as a collective. So it's not like Samoa did last year where they trialed out all the different players and whatnot. So that is really exciting because Samoa do seem to be really taking this, Tonga do seem to be taking this to a different level, which is really good to see, especially considering Tonga has beaten a show before. Only the one time, but has beaten a show before. Dingo says, hello, sir. Hello, mate. Can you let me know that you can hear everything and that the internet's going fine, please? Can you just let me know the internet is going smoothly so that before I get into my deep preview of this game, I know that everything is going smooth because, again, I am on a VPN tonight. Yeah, it's all good. Sweet. Cheers, bro. All right, let's get into it. Like I said, I just didn't want to go through like a 10, 20-minute preview and then find out that it was just the internet was all over the shop. But all right, guys, let's get into these two team lives here. For tonight, the game does start in about an hour time. Right now, the Australian team is actually playing the Papua New Guinea Orchids in the women's game, and Australia, they're up 40-0 with 30 minutes to go. So we're absolutely slapping it down there. But guys, hit that like button, subscribe if you're new around here, and let's go. The Kangaroos, they play host here at Suncorp Stadium in Brisbane. The Cauldron is going to be a tough one here for the Tongans. They are $1.15 favourites here, the Kangaroos, whilst Tonga, which is the Tonga XIII team. So it's usually it would be Matama'a Tonga, so I'm interested to see what the difference really is there. If you are Tongan and watching this, please let me know the difference there. But they are $5.50 underdogs, and like I said, this is at Suncorp Stadium in Brisbane. The last time, actually, let's go quickly have a look here at the last time these two teams played, because they didn't play in the World Cup. No, they didn't play in the World Cup. Australia played Samoa in the World Cup final, but Samoa knocked out Tonga. So I wonder when the last time these two teams did actually play. Gee whiz. Internationals. Let's go back and have a look. So let's look at Australia. No, that'd be Oz PMXII. 2020. I don't think 2022 they would have played. I don't think so. We might even have to go all the way back to like 2019. We might even have to go all the way back to 2019 here. Kangaroos. All right, let's have a look here. The last time... Okay, 2019, was the last time we played when Tonga beat, when they won 16-12 in Eden Park in Auckland? Is that the last time these two teams have actually played? Interesting. Okay, because 2020 definitely there wouldn't have been a game between these two teams, and in 2021 there wasn't. So the last time Australia played Tonga did actually win. Just throwing that out there, which is interesting. But again, that was in Auckland, which was a very, very... Ooh, what's happening with I've got to charge my mouse. Yes, the last time these two teams played was the 16-12 Tonga Invitational versus Australia, which was a massive, massive result. It was quite funny because Katoni Staggs was the 6th that day. Obviously, very, very different nowadays, and this is a more meaningful game here for Australia than that one was. But that was a very, very pivotal moment in the Islander culture in rugby league, where you could see that Tonga and the likes were really starting to improve, because for a very, very long time, Tonga, Samoa, Fiji, maybe Fiji upper echelon comparatively, but Samoa, Tonga, Fiji, Papua New Guinea and whatnot have always been kind of well off the pace, but there, right? And then you've got the Australia, the New Zealand, and then you have England, which is even which is in the middle of those two, probably on the upper end, but still, right? So that game between Tonga and Australia really was an emphasis that the islands were starting to really improve. Now, the reason why I say there's a little bit of a separation there of Fiji, who play Papua New Guinea tomorrow, by the way, we will be live streaming that, is because Fiji always do actually compete quite well. They never end up winning it, but they do actually get to semi-finals of World Cups quite frequently. Like, they are very evidently in the big-time clashes and whatnot, just can't get over that hump. But again, this result was what really kind of changed a lot of that mentality across the islands. Now, in regards to tonight's game, the fullback for Australia, Dylan Edwards. Interesting selection here. Obviously, Edwards did take over from James Tedesco this year in New South Wales. Dylan Edwards is an unbelievable player. He was underrated until you could make an argument. A lot of people do kind of go above and beyond where he's at. He is an incredible player, top 3 fullback in the league, top 2, you could argue. It depends on what you want, right? Because Dylan Edwards isn't exactly that X-Factor style player. He's an unbelievable player in a group full of stars where he becomes a star, but not the X-Factor star, right? But then you look at other fullbacks like a Tommy Trbojevic, like a James Tedesco. Who else could we be looking at there? Little puppy Ryan Papenhuyzen and Reece Walsh. Those kind of players are more those X-Factor, try, assist, tries, bing, bang, boom, in your face kind of deal. So Dylan Edwards is a completely separate style player. So it's going to be interesting to see how he kind of does go here at the international level, because last year he played, I think, on the wing, if I'm not mistaken. I'm pretty certain last year's Pacific Championships, he played on the wing, which is not his position, man. It's not his position, to be completely honest with you. And that's what we were pretty evidently told. Let's have a look here at that Pacific Cup final against New Zealand. Yeah, he was. Dylan Edwards was on the wing then, the number 2. Val Holmes was on the other wing. So, yeah, I think Dylan Edwards obviously back into his normal position here. It does make sense, but James Tedesco had a great year, man. He did have a phenomenal year, and I know people like to kind of throw shade at him and whatnot, but I'm surprised that James Tedesco didn't get more of a kind of look in there. I am surprised, especially when they come to the back end, but you do want to start to really bring through those next guys, and Dylan Edwards has got quite a few years left in him, so I can understand it from Mal. But I do think James Tedesco should feel pretty harsh about that as well, considering his year. Now, on the wings, you got Xavier Coates and Zach the Taxman Lomax. Now, Zach Lomax, he was the best winger in the competition this year, I would argue. I thought that he was absolutely incredible. He really started to show that potential we knew from years ago, and now he's actually got it now. We'll see if that happens at the Eels as well, but he did have a great year for the Dragons and also New South Wales. I would expect him to transition that into the Australian team as long as he's not too much distracted by the changing of teams. Xavier Coates is actually under a lot of criticism from Papua New Guinea fans because he didn't select to play for Papua New Guinea. But I always say this, if this is their decision, right? Like, yes, okay, you can argue money, whatnot, all you like, but if a player believes that they are an Australian, then they are Australian. You don't get the decision-making process in regards to who they should feel more accompanied with, right? Like, it happens with the Cook Islands and Samoa all the time where people say, well, why is he playing for Australia and New Zealand? He should be playing for us. And so, well, it's not your decision to make. So, Xavier Coates, great winger there in the number 2. Now, you go to the centres, Hamisa Tabuai-Fidow and Tommy Trbojevic. Couple of fullbacks there playing the centres, which is interesting, but these guys are absolute killers. We know it. We know how these guys play. Hamisa, speedster for days. Tommy Trbojevic, arguably, you can make an argument for best player on his day in the entire competition. But Tom Trbojevic is absolutely incredible. You go to the 5'8", Tommy Dearden from the Cowboys, and the halfback is Mitchell Moses from the Parramatta Squeals, the Parramatta Eels. Nathan Cleary, obviously injured, and also Cameron Munster is injured as well, I believe. I think Cameron Munster is injured as well, yes. Anyway, point of the matter is, this is an interesting halves pairing, but Tommy Dearden is incredible for Queensland and for the Cowboys. Mitchell Moses is the key to the Eels, and also was the key to New South Wales actually winning this year in the State of Origin against all odds. So I actually really do like this halves pairing. It will be interesting, though, that when Nathan Cleary comes back, if Mitchell Moses has an incredible Pacific Championships here, it's like, I think Cleary comes back in, but does potentially Tom Dearden miss out? You potentially put Cleary to the 6 and Moses to the 7, or Moses to the 6 and Cleary to the 7. And then when Munster comes back, the depth for days here. The depth for days. But if they play well enough throughout this Pacific Cup, especially with Mitchell Moses' form, man, I really do find it... I find it will be a very big predicament for Mal to see what he does, because although Nathan Cleary is, I believe, the best player in the game right now, and very clearly as well, I think that he's absolutely crushed in the NRL, and there's nothing more to be proven there. I still think there's a little bit more to be proven in Origin, a little bit. And then in regards to Kangaroos, I still think there needs to be a little bit more as well, even though he did win the World Cup and whatnot. So, but he can't do that unless he's playing. It just will provide a massive predicament if Moses does have such an incredible Pacific Cup here, especially with the form that he is showing. But I am looking forward to this halves pairing for sure. Now, you go to the props, the front row forwards, Paddy Carrigan from the Brisbane Broncos and Lindsay Collins here from the Sydney Roosters. That is absolutely boppers right there. Huge forward pack. And then the number 9, Harry Grant, the hooker. He actually wins that battle out. There was a lot of discussion between him, Ben Hunt, and I think Reece Robson as well is a part of the team. But Reece Robson has missed out, and so is Ben Hunt, who's actually the 18th man replacement here today. So they are really mixing it up, and we'll talk about that forward in a second. So they are really changing up their kind of go forward in the way they do play, a similar style to what Queensland's done for a lot of the years, where Harry Grant and Ben Hunt will interchange throughout the game. They are starting to move on from that. And I guess we did see a lot of why that probably should be moved on from in that Pacific Cup final last year when it was 30-0. We saw that was really exposed. But I do love that prop pairing. I do love that number 9, obviously. Back row, Angus Crichton and Cameron Murray. Cameron Murray, I believe, can break a record tonight. If he scores another try tonight, I think that's 7 games in a row that he scored for Australia, which I believe breaks the record. Incredible, man. He absolutely gets it done every time he puts on a Kangaroos jersey. He does it everywhere. Rabbitohs, New South Wales, and Australia, man. So he's an unbelievable player that we love to watch. And Angus Crichton has been the best player for the back rowers this year in 2024. No doubt about it. Massive bounce back story. Really proud to see what he's been able to do there and to overcome the adversity and to get back into it and now be playing for Australia. Because I believe he got dropped at the beginning part of this year, or it might have been late last year, but the beginning part of this year he was playing Rezzies. And now he's playing for Australia and was the best player in Origin and was one of the best players in the competition for the Roosters, right? So really excited to see him tonight. And then Zai Yo, one of the smartest players in the game. He's a lock, captain for Penrith and also captain. Oh, no, yeah, I think he's captain for Penrith, isn't he? But he's captain for Australia tonight. Now, the interchange, this is where it gets interesting. Matt Burton from the Doggies, Mitchell Barnett from the Warriors, Ruben Cotter from the Cowboys, and Hudson Young from the Canberra Raiders, with the 18th man replacement being Ben Hunt. Interesting kind of dynamic here, man. Really interesting dynamic there on that interchange. Matty Burton, I do love this. I think that he can play in the centre. He can play... You probably could throw him into the fullback if necessary, but you've got about 1 billion fullbacks in this team with Tommy Trbojevic, Hamisa Tapuai'afado, and Dylan Edwards. So if something happened to Dylan Edwards, you'd probably chuck Hamisa back there, to be completely honest with you. Or you chuck Tommy, and then you push Matty Burton into those centres there. And obviously can come on and play as a bit of a third roaming half, right? So it's going to be interesting to see how they do utilise Matty Burton today, but his kicking game is incredible, and he has had a great year for the Doggies this year. Barnett, Cotter, and Hudson Young. Hard worker Barnett, very hard worker Ruben Cotter. I should say both very hard working. Barnett had a great Origin series as well. And then Hudson Young, a little bit of an X factor. So I do really like it. I think it's perplexing, but I do like the way that Mal has kind of sided with that interchange. I'm going to refresh here because sometimes this changes whilst I'm talking. It hasn't yet. It has not. So there you go. That's the Australian team. Looking forward to it. I think that it is a very different team to what we have seen over the years, over the recent years anyway. But I do think this definitely has the ability to just continue to go on with it. But I will also throw it out there that there is a susceptible notion here that this team, there is a lot of testing going on, is what I would say. I think there's a lot of testing happening here with this Australian team where it can either go really, really right, it can do the job at a good level, or it can go really, really wrong. I don't think there's like a slightly wrong. I think it either goes really, really wrong, or it goes right on any side of the scale, whether it be slightly or very, very good. I just think that there's a lot of different changes. Like Tommy Dearden and Mitchell Moses, exciting, but there is still room for concern at some points, right? There's no Nathan Cleary here. There's no Cameron Munster, the guys that you are aware of. Tedesco's now moved on. They're not going with that Harry Grant, Ben Hunt combination. There is a lot of changes here. There's no, Big Tino. He's not here in the front row due to his injury and whatnot. There is a lot of changes. So I give a little bit of room for concern. There could be a problem against like New Zealand or even against the Tonga, because Tonga is a big team, man, and especially in their forwards. But let's get into the Tongan team now. We go to the fullback. Lehigh Hopewade had a great season for Manly. He was really just a massive product that comes off a massive rookie that comes in here and I'm looking forward to seeing him play for Tonga because he did have such a great year. Now, Tolutau Koala would normally be here, would he not? No, Tolutau Koala is actually the 18th man replacement. So they have decided to not actually utilise Tolutau Koala here. That's interesting. That is very interesting, considering Koala, his Manly teammate, is a little bit more experienced in that regard. So, okay, interesting that Leo Hawaii gets that fullback start, but he was really, really good for Manly this year. On the wings, ever-present Daniel Tupou from the Sydney Roosters and Sione Katoa from the Cronulla Sharkies. Great wing pairing there. Tupou, very good in the air. Really strong ball carrier back. He's just a really, really solid player that's been going for so long now. He just does not stop this guy. And Sione Katoa, he's a speedster. He's got really good agility. And is a part of one of the better teams in the competition, the Sharkies, and does run the ball back really hard. He's not the biggest body, but damn well he runs that ball back hard. You got the centers here, Moses Sully from the Dragons and Paul Alamotti from the Panthers. Paul Alamotti actually played a little bit more of the back row. Well, he did play center in the grand final, but that is a center pairing that if you asked me last year, that center pairing there concerns me greatly defensively because Alamotti didn't show a great deal of the doggies. And Sully has his moments. I still have my concerns about Sully right now, but he's a big ball runner, of course. Paul Alamotti has raised the bar on his career incredibly. I'm really looking forward to seeing how Paul Alamotti transitions from the Penrith team into this team here today for Tonga. I'm really looking forward to that, to be completely honest with you. You're lagging a lot. Are we really? Can you hear everything though? I'm just jumping into the chat here just to make sure. Can you actually hear what I'm saying overall, or should I just turn this VPN off and just watch it not on KO? Let me know in the chat. We are trying something different here tonight. Otherwise, I'll just if it's not working too well, then we'll have to switch it up. Audio is fine. Oh, so the audio is fine. It's just the visual is lagging a little bit. Is it? Is that what's happening? Can you hear everything fine, just the screen lagging? Okay, is it like maybe tomorrow? Tomorrow I'll go back to normal. I think for tonight we'll leave it this way, but tomorrow we'll go back to watching it elsewhere. We'll try and figure it out, but as long as you guys are kind of okay with it jumping around a little bit. But tomorrow for the Papua New Guinea vs Fiji game, we'll go across and do it without the VPN. But all right, let's get back into this one here, guys. Obviously, hit that thumbs up button, subscribe. So yeah, center pairing, there is concern there, valid concern, but Paul Alamotti this year has really drastically improved his game. So I'm really looking forward to seeing if Paul Alamotti can transition it into this international stage, especially he's getting thrown into the world of fire here against guys like Tommy Trbojevic and Amisa Tabuai-Fidow, right? It's terrifying for him. It is, because they're big-time players. But he did against the Melbourne Storm in the grand final, and if he can do it in the Melbourne Storm in the grand final, he can do it here too. He can. He really can. He really can. All right, 5'8" here. Tui Moala Lolahia and halfback Isai Katoa. Obviously, Katoa from the Dolphins. Where's Lolahia playing nowadays? Where is he playing? I've actually interviewed him for the channel before. He was on the interview when I did Tonga vs Samoa back at Campbelltown Stadium in 2018. Where is Lolahia playing nowadays? Tui Moala Lolahia. Is he playing? He's Super League, yeah? He was at the Tigers. Huddersfield Giants. Standoff or fullback for the Huddersfield Giants. Well, there you go. So he's over there in the Super League. I haven't seen him for a while. Can't really have a great conversation about Twinwala Lolahia. But he does the job. He does the job. Isai Katoa, obviously, still super young, but he is starting to become a lot more experienced now with 2 full years under his belt there with the Dolphins and a little bit of time at the Panthers as well. So the issue with the Islands is always going to be the halves, right? The issue with the Islands is always going to be, until further notice, the frustration, the lacking depth of the halves department, even the hooker department for the most part. And I guess this does prove it. Like, there is a lot of concern about whether they're going to be able to outplay guys like Tommy Dearden and Mitchell Moses. I just can't see Lolahia and Katoa outplaying Dearden and Moses by any means. I think there's a very clear advantage there to Australia, but this is the problem you find with Tonga, with Samoa, with Fiji, with Papua New Guinea, with Cook Islands, with all these teams. The halves just don't usually get them there. They don't usually get them to the big point, to that big time play, right? So it's going to be interesting to see if they do go forward with these two as their halves pairing. I just don't know who else is available in the halves department for Tonga, however. I don't know about their depth, because this is probably the best they can, especially with Lolahia's experience and Katoa being the guy of the future. I don't know. It is a concern, however. But we'll wait and see how they play tonight against Australia at Suncorp. Now, the props, Adam Fenor-Blake here from the, well, I can say Cronulla Sharkies now. Technically, this is still this season, so I'm going to say the Warriors, but he is the Cronulla Sharks from next season. He is the captain tonight, and also Felice Kafusi is playing as the prop. from the Redcliffe Dolphins there. Big time front row forwards there. Kafusi usually plays on the edge, usually plays as a back rower. So intriguing that they've put him there, considering that there's surely, like Taniela Paseka, I'm surprised they haven't just chucked him straight into the front row there. Like the back row that I'll mention in a second is incredible. So I can understand why they still want to have Kafusi in the team. So I guess I get it. But obviously Kafusi is more of an edge player. Going up against Lindsay Collins and Patrick Carrigan, he's a big-time hitter, man, but you got to be careful of his discipline. Adam Fanua-Blake, you can put him anywhere in the top 3 props in the game, arguably top 4 if you want to say, in regards to if you want to put Fisher Harris in as well. But I always have Payne Haas, Tino, Adam Fanua-Blake as the top 3. I understand Tino's injured this year. And then I say Fisher Harris kind of wavers around, but I would put him amongst that 3 as well. I would prefer guys like a Tino, Adam Fanua-Blake and Payne Haas to Fisher Harris, but he is amongst those 3 guys, so I should be fair and kind of include him. But Adam Fanua-Blake, incredible, loves an offload, loves a try, very attacking-minded player, defensively. Does his job, man. He's a very, very good front rower, so I shouldn't even need to go on to further about that. Saliva Havili here from the South Sydney Rabbitohs. He's their hooker. Never gets put on his back, this guy. Does a job. Nothing spectacular. Does a job. You like to see it. I really do worry about him going up against a guy like Harry Grant, and he's going to get caught out a little bit here, Saliva Havili. But he is the best option that they do have in the 9 department, and it makes sense for them to go with him in the hooker. But the back row, and this is where it starts to get dangerous. In the back row on the lock, this is scary. Hamoli Olakawatu from Manly and Elias Katoa from the Melbourne Storm. Katoa, incredible this year for the Storm. Really starting to come into his own, has come into his own. Olakawatu, one of the best back rowers in the game. Put him amongst the guys like Britt Nakora, David Fafita, Olakawatu, and I guess you can still put Liam Martin there, but he's more stints. And then, who's the other one? It's Nakora, Olakawatu, Kalamatangi, who's also in this team, I believe. Yeah, he's on the bench. So, yeah, he's also there. But Olakawatu, man, you just can't stop him, man. You just can't stop him. So that back row is terrifying. And then you include that with Jason Taumalolo on the lock, who is a stalwart here of this Tongan team. Actually, probably the biggest reason Tonga took that step and that leap forward. He's probably him and Andrew Fafita, when they switched from... Taumalolo was New Zealand and Fafita was Australia, if I'm not mistaken. When they switched to go to Tonga, that was a big change of direction for the Islanders, especially Tonga. So Taumalolo is a gigantic leader for the team, and I'm surprised that he's actually not the captain. I am surprised, but then again, he isn't the player that he once was, granted, but I am surprised that he's not the captain. Interchange-wise, Sonia Luke, Siteli Tupanua, Taniela Paseka, and Keon Kalamatangi. I'm not sure if Sonia Luke is still at the Panthers, but Tupanua was at Roosters. I think he's at the Bulldogs now. Taniela Paseka, Manly, and Kalamatangi, Rabbitohs. And the 18th man of placement is Tolotau Kuala, unless they change it and put Siwa Wong in. It is Tolotau Kuala. It is Tolotau Kuala there. So, look, the bench is really, really solid. Sonia Luke is a how you going one. I'm not going to lie. He is a bit of a how you going one. But Tupanua, Paseka, and Kalamatangi is a big bench. And that's what Tonga's going to have to do here today. They're going to have to lead through the forwards, and we know that. But they're going up against Isaiah, Murray, Crichton, Collins, Grant, and Carrigan. And then not to mention the bench of Barnett, Cotter, and Hudson Young, right, in regards to forwards comparatively. So, if Tonga's going to win this game, man, they're really going to have to annihilate that forwards. They're really... By the way, Australia's whooping Papua New Guinea in the women's team. It's 68-0 right now. It's about to be 70-0. Oh, gee whiz. Aussies flogging them. I'm going to take Australia here, and I am going to take Australia 13+. I know Tongas might not like that. I just think that I'm going to look more on the positive side of whether it can be good, really, really good, or really, really bad for Australia. And I will lean with the positive side for sure, because it is Australia, and these guys are incredible. There is still room for concern. I think that Australia should win this one pretty comfortably. I really do. I think they should. But I would love to be proven wrong. I'd love to see Tonga really get up for this one. I really would. But, all right, guys. That's my predictions here for this game. Hope you guys are still enjoying the stream, despite the fact that the video it lags a little bit, but obviously at least you can hear me the entire time, which is the main thing. But obviously, guys, hit that like button, subscribe if you're new around here, and let's get into the Chat de Mundos. Alright. Jay says, using VPN on those naughty sites again, huh? Well, I only got it before. I only actually just got it because I thought that it would be good because I have KO, I thought that I'd be able to just use the VPN here in Fiji. And it would be fine, but apparently not. Apparently it does. Apparently it slows it all down. I don't know. I'm able to watch the game and whatnot fine. I'm able to watch the game and whatnot fine. Actually, let me just... Oh, jeez, Mahalia Murphy with a huge run there. They're at 68-0 with 13 minutes to go, by the way. They dead set could hit 90. Like, they dead set could hit 90. That is insane. It's 68-0. Papua New Guinea did have to travel from Papua New Guinea from last week, to be fair, but it's a bit... They're going to score here. They're going to score right now. Oh, no, they dropped the ball. Drop the lollies. Drop the lollies. But yeah, I thought it would work, but obviously not. We'll do it tomorrow. So here it says, Turbo on paper looks deadly, but like you said, Alamotti is on form, and Turbo hasn't been 100% for a year now. Disagree. I would say, yeah, I agree with parts of what you said, but I would disagree as well, because Turbo still, if he wasn't as injured as much, and that is a factor, obviously, but if he wasn't as injured as much, he probably wins the Dally M this year. When he was fit and healthy, he pretty much got every 6 points that you could think of. Like, he was incredible this year, Tommy Turbo. He's actually still more on form than Paul Alamotti. It's just that he's unfortunately injured a bit more, which, again, is always going to be a concern with Tommy Turbo, and I wish I didn't have to say that. Touch wood. Is there wood? Touch my forehead. There you go. I wish I didn't have to say that, but it is a concern with Tommy Turbo, right? So, yeah, I would still say that Tommy Turbo is more on form than Paul Alamotti, but I think that for the drastic improvements of where Alamotti was to where Alamotti is now, you do obviously love to see that. But I think it would be unfair to say that Tommy Turbo hasn't been good for a year now, when he probably would have won the Dally M if he was fit and healthy all year. You look at the scores and you look how close he was. I'm telling you, if he was fit and healthy, he probably wins it, man. He probably does. Dingo says they miss out on 16 points from conversions as well. Could have been 84-0 right now. Oh, wow. They've been scoring a lot of the tries down the wings, have they? 10 minutes to go there. 68-0. Crazy stuff. But, like, it's not crazy surprising, though. Oh, they're away again here. It's not ridiculously surprising, right? That's a little bit of why I didn't stream it, because I didn't want to... It's a little bit embarrassing for Papua New Guinea, because they're such a passionate rugby league nation, and they do love their rugby league so much, but then when you get scorelines like this, it really does hit a different kind of hurt, right? It really, oh geez, that was bad there from Australia. It does hit a really different kind of hurt. So I didn't think that a massive blowout was worthwhile sitting here and streaming, because we all knew that Australia was going to win by a big margin. Yeah, both wingers have 5 tries each. 5 tries each to Julie Robinson, and who's the other winger? Julie Robinson from the Bronx. Who's playing 5? Robinson's probably playing 2, isn't she? It's not Serge, it's Kelly. They're the centers. Who's the 5? Who's playing on the 5? Yeah, Munsey's doing end-of-year surgery to fix his groin properly. Yeah, he's having a few injury problems in the last couple of years as well. A bit frustrating, because obviously on his day he's he's one of the best in the game, if not the best in the game. Obviously, just a few frustrating health concerns and health injuries in the last couple of years. Australia's probably going to score straight off the back of this kick here. Tamika Upton. Taken down at the 35. Oh, Ja'Kai Whitfield, the other one. Fair enough. Logan Ballsay's getting around the Aussies. Mate, you're just getting around the Aussies because of Matty Burton, you Bulldogs jerker. You're just getting around the buddy Bulldoggy Doggy Woof Woof Matty Burton, mate. Will you still be getting around Australia, no Matty Burton? I don't know. I'm watching you, buddy. Oh, that's a good pass there. Straight away. Here we go. Taking out the 35. So he says it started pouring here in Sydney. Well, the game's not in Sydney today, so it don't really matter. Does not really matter. Australia, Millie Elliott here, taking down 13 metres out. Also, oh, that's a penalty. Oh, it's a one-on-one strip, and now we got the ball back. Okay, we're just going to score again. Don't forget to remind me to refresh the live score when the game starts. That was an injury, fair enough. Fair enough. Greg Sealy says, go Aussie. Get around the Aussies. Get around it. Logan Baltic says, I love to Pat my Burton to Matt Burton. English. Por favor. Vinakavakalu. You speak English? Well, you speak English here, Logan Baltic. You think this is Indian channel? No, Indian channel, man. We Aussie. It's English. What is I love to Pat my Burton to Matt Burton? You need help. You need help, mate. So he says, just glad with some rugby back. Been watching India New Zealand test all day. India all have 47. Yeah, I did see that. Obviously, I will be streaming the Australia versus India cricket series here this off season, which will be good. And we do have a lot of plans change. I'm not going to say, but we've got a lot of plans for next year that will mean a lot of differences for this channel. But it is very exciting too. Very exciting as well. So it's a HIA here, Papua New Guinea. 8 minutes to go here. All right, Australia. Oh, come on, hit that sexy 70. Get the old. They're gonna get at least 80. They'll get 2 tries. They will get 2 tries. As long as they score here. And whoa, that's actually good defense there, Papua New Guinea. Good stuff. Apparently there was a sin bin earlier in the game too, which is where they conceded like 4 tries in that sin bin, and they will score again. Julie Robinson is out in the wing though, so it's probably going to be a little bit difficult to get. 52% of people reckon that Tonga's going to win this game, do they? You reckon, ladies and gentlemen? You reckon? You reckon? Okay. 52% of people reckon Tonga going to beat Australia here. Good luck, son. If you are new here, jump into the comment section. I would love to know why you think that. So here says Tonga have a gun pack, but with the Kangaroos having experienced half and a good pack, they'll edge this by 8. Yeah, but like, where did Tonga actually beat Australia here? That's my question to you. Where do Tonga actually beat Australia? Dylan Edwards, Lehigh Hopewade. We all know Edwards wins that battle. The wingers of Coates and Lomax versus Tupou and Katoa. Probably the more even battle across the game, to be fair. But I still lean with Coates and Lomax. But I think Tupou and Katoa are also incredible regardless. If you want to give it a wash, sure. But I don't think you could say Tupou and Katoa beat out Lomax and Coates. Which is what the purpose of what I'm trying to say is. I'm trying to get Tonga over the line somewhere. There's centres here of Hamisa Tabuai-Fidow and Tom Trebojevic versus Alamotti and Suli. We all know that the centres there for Australia win that battle out. There's no point even talking about the halves of Dearden Moses versus Lolahi and Katoa. Props of Carrigan and Lindsay Collins versus Fenua Blake and Kafusi. It's very, very close actually. I would actually say maybe you could make an argument that Tonga's props there are better. You could make an argument that collectively, but then again, Kafusi normally is a back rower. But it's not like he's not going to be able to play one more. You know, he's not going to play in the middle. He knows how to play in the middle, man. So, look, I'm happy to give that battle there to the Tongans, to be fair. The number 9, Harry Grant, sweeps Havili. Back row, Crichton and Murray and Olakwatu and Alex Katoa. Like, it is a wash here. Like, Olakwatu and Katoa, incredible. But Crichton and Murray are also incredible. I personally would say if you're looking for X Factor, you're probably still looking as a collective between Olakwatu and Katoa. But if you're looking at consistency and you're looking at the elite of the elite on a consistent basis, I am probably taking Murray and Crichton. I don't know. That's a really good battle too. I'd be happy to say Tonga would edge it out, but I'd also be happy to say Australia edge it out. So that's why I say it's a wash. And then it's Io versus Tamalolo. If you're talking 5 years ago, it's Tamalolo, but nowadays it's definitely Io of Tamalolo. And then the interchange of Barnett, Cotter, and Hudson Young versus Tupanua, Paseka, and Kolomatangi. You give that to Australia there. And then in regards to 14 and Matt Burton versus Luke, it's game over. You know, like it's very clear. So the close battles here are between the back rowers, are between the front rowers, and the wingers. But the 1, 6, 7, 9, and 13, the most critical positions on the field in regards to the direction of a team, you do lean pretty confidently in favour of the Kangaroos. So that's where I struggle in regards to thinking this is going to be a... that's where I struggle to seeing Tonga being able to get over the line here. Like a Balls says, in that 10-minute PNG sim bin, one winger scored 3 and the other one scored 1. That's a big yikes. That is a big yikes. It is 74-0, mind you, with 5 minutes to go. It is 74-0. So here it says, that's true. Tonga have a scary pack, but so do Australia, and the halves are enough to win it. Absolutely. Absolutely. Again, Tonga have a great team, but I just don't know if it's going to be all, it's going to all come together or against. Like, this is a trial by fire. It is. They lost to England last year in the series. I think it was 3-0. They now play Australia and New Zealand. So they go from a tough series against England to possibly the most impossible series against Australia and New Zealand. We're more than likely going to see another final of Australia versus New Zealand. Would love to see Tonga surprise me, man. I would. Don't get me wrong. Would love to see it. It's just I think they are back in the development stage. And I did actually tell you guys this before the last World Cup. No one listened. They were all like, Tonga, Tonga, Tonga. I did say Samoa are going to that World Cup, and I said this back in 2020. Samoa going to that World Cup, we're looking more, maybe 2019, we're looking more likely going forward to really progress further than what Tonga has, despite all the hype and despite how good Tonga have been. And then that's exactly what happened there, right? So I do think that Tonga they're really craving and really desperate right now for someone to really jump out of them in regards to a 5'8", in regards to a halfback, in regards to a hooker. Because Katoa still needs time. He does. And I don't know if he's going to get there. Oh, Tamika, I'm thinking out of the in-goal. I don't know if Katoa is going to be able to get there. I don't. Do I follow A-League? No, A-League kind of... I used to love A-League a lot. I used to love it, but I fell out of love with it, unfortunately, due to the FFA and the APL and whatnot. But like, I'd still get around the Brisbane Roar. I still do get around the Brisbane Roar. I just don't watch it as much as I once did. I used to watch every game. I used to go to the Den a lot. Get around it. Logan Baltic says, Blaze, the opinion you're giving now about Tonga was probably the same opinion given in 2017 when Tonga gave one of the biggest upsets to Australia. Yes and no. 1 second here. Let that side. Here go Australia. 4 tackle or 45. Yes and no. Like, you go, okay, let's have a look at let's compare the two teams. All right, let's compare the two teams here. The Tongan team from that game to the Tongan team from this game. Let's have a look here. 2019 internationals. Where is the no, not 2024. 2019. There we go. And where is it? Here we go. 16-12 Tonga versus Australia. By the way, guys, 25 minutes to go until the kickoff. Obviously, guys, hit that like button and subscribe if you are new. We'll be here tomorrow as well for Fiji versus Papua New Guinea. So the last time you compare the fullback, Lee Hopewade, rookie this year, to Will Hopewade, experienced. The wingers were David Fusatua and Daniel Tupou. Tupou stays. Would you take Fusatua or Sione Katoa? Oh, Fusatua was incredible back then, but I probably would take Katoa, to be fair. But Fusatua was incredible on that point. Michael Jennings and Conrad Harrell in the centres against Moses Suli and Paul Alamotti. I would take the centres of Jennings and Conrad Harrell in that time over Suli and Paul Alamotti, to be completely honest with you. You go to the 5'8", Lolahia, same. No, sorry, wrong. I know it was. 5'8" was Lolahia. The halfback was Kutoni Staggs. So, Australia going to hit 80 here. They're going to hit 80. They're at the 50, the 45, the 40, back on the inside. Australia going to hit 80. With a minute and a half to go, it's about to be 80-0. But the Aussie girls for... but yeah, okay, the halves, they're absolutely concerned. I don't know how Kutoni Staggs played a 7 role, but sure. Takiaho and Adam Fanua-Blake versus Adam Fanua-Blake and Felix Kafusi. It's still very similar teams, to be fair. I guess at least you do have Katoa there, but you've also got to comparatively, like, look at the back row. Ben Masila and Manu Ma'u, that is a weird back row compared to Ola Kawatu and Alex Katoa. And then obviously you had Tamalolo in that 13. Havili was the 9 then, and Havili is the 9 now. So I get what you're trying to say. I do, but I don't think Australia are lacking preparation here. I do think you look at that Australian team, and you probably argue that it's a better Australian team on paper besides Nick Cottridge in the team. Tedesco, Addo-Carr, Trell Mitt, Jack Whiten, Trell Mitt Roosters, Jack Whiten, Nick Cottridge, that's still fine at the time. Munster, Cherry Evans, Papali'i, Cookie, David Clemmer, Boyd Cordner, Tyson Frizzell, Jake Trbojevic, Cameron Murray, Payne Haas, Paul Vaughan, and Wade Graham. You'd say on paper that team is much better, actually, than today's team for Australia. However, they did come into that game thinking they'd already won it. Because at the time, these island teams would just get beaten for fun by these big Australians and New Zealanders and whatnot, right? They get beaten for fun. So Australia came to that game thinking they'd already won it. I guarantee you play that game on a repeat. We haven't played each other. Australia has not played Tonga since this game. I guarantee you if you played the same team versus the same team a week later, it would have been a different story. And by a significant margin. But, I'll get called delusional for that. I don't really give a shit. Because it's like with Australia versus New Zealand last year. I tell you right now, if Australia had played New Zealand again the week after, it would have been a very different result. Just like we saw Australia flog New Zealand the week beforehand, and in Australia, and then we went to New Zealand, and then New Zealand won it by a big margin. It was just very beneficial for New Zealand that game was obviously in their home turf for the final comparatively to the game beforehand, and the whole, it was just very, very, and New Zealanders don't like to listen to me when I say this, but it is a fact. It is a fact, man. Australia might score again here. They might hit 86. They dead set might hit 86. That's ridiculous. Tasman says close game. Mate, this is ridiculous here. I actually copped so much bullshit from Kiwis last year just because I was speaking about the fact that it was a split game. I know that the final ended up being the big one there for New Zealand, but I'm saying, like, if you look, like, it's like New Zealanders think that Australia doesn't exist anymore in rugby league because they won the one game 3-0. Like, we've only lost one World Cup, lads, in our history. Australia are going to hit 86. They're going to do it. They're going to score right now. They're going to score right now. They're going to do it. They're going to do it. They just did it. It's 84-0. And that's a penalty for a hairpull. That should be a penalty try. It should actually be a penalty try there, referee. So you're telling me Australia should have won this game 100-0. They actually should have won this game by 100. Let that sink in. Australia should have won this women's game by 100 points. They've missed like 16 or 18 conversions. 16 or 18 points worth of conversions. That's crazy stuff, man. Crazy stuff, man. That's crazy stuff. Last time the Kangaroos won 82-0, improvement from Papua New Guinea, only 80-0. No, it's 84-0, buddy. Gee whiz. Oh, what? The Kangaroos last time won 82-0. Okay. I didn't know that. That's a penalty try, man. She scored the try and it's a penalty. I'm sorry, but you have to call it. You have to call that as an 8-point try. No, it's an accident, but she still pulls on her hair. It is the rules. If you give away a penalty in the act of scoring the try, it is a try, convert from where the ball is, and then also get a kick from right in front. It's just how it is, Sonny Jim. It's how it is, bud. You know, it's how it is, buddy, oh, pal. But they're not going to give it. They're not going to do it. It should have been 102-0. Shit whiz. I think tomorrow will be an interesting game. Fiji, the heavy favourites, but people don't realise this. Papua New Guinea always beat Fiji. They just always beat Fiji. Fiji have the best team on paper, but Papua New Guinea just always... They work hard, bro. They work hard. They're hard workers, man. But there you go. Final score there of the women's game. 84-0. 84-0. Oh, no. Oh, no. 84-0, man. That is crazy scenes there at Suncorp. Crazy, crazy scenes. Give me some score predictions of this chat here, this game here, though, between the men's game. Do you have a different opinion to me? Do you think that it will be a close one? Someone says almost a blowout that was. Yeah, look, I was expecting Australia women's team to win by a few more points, but obviously they can't save their lives. But that should have ended 102-0 if they had got the kicks. That is an insanity of a scoreline. Craig Howard says, I say this with all due respect. I think the Papua New Guinea women need to work on their fitness and maybe there'll be more of a chance next time. I just hope they can learn from this. I understand what you're saying, and I know it's controversial. It's always controversial to talk about weight in regards to players and whatnot, and in regards to fitness, but you are also still critiquing their professional game, right? And when you're losing 84-0, I think it is, as long as you're not going out and saying, oh, these women are just fat and lazy, as long as you put it in a way of they need to work on their fitness, like you said, or they need to adjust. I understand, like adjust their fitness is ultimately what you want to say there. It's a really difficult topic, but it has to be said because yes, the Australian women are a lot more energetic. They are a lot more agile. They are a lot more pacing. That's why they win 84-0. I don't believe Papua New Guinea should be playing Australia. I don't think there's any benefit to that. I don't think there was any benefit to that. And Daz just said the last time they played, they lost 82-0. So they lost by 2 points more than a ridiculous scoreline of 82-0. So what is Papua New Guinea improving here? They should be playing the women's teams of like a Cook Islands or a Tonga or Samoa or whatnot, because unfortunately, it's just not valuable for them. I don't think it's valuable for Australia besides an ego boost. And I definitely don't think it's valuable for Papua New Guinea right now. So yeah, it's definitely down to fitness, but it's also down to grassroots. It's also down to development. It's also down to the facilities and the financial situation. It's going to be very difficult to ever see Papua New Guinea at that level in the women's game, let alone the men's team, right? Because they love it. They're obsessed with it. They die for it, literally. But there's a long way to go for Papua New Guinea Rugby League. And that's why it's a benefit to their future long-term goals in international game if they get this 18th team coming in Papua New Guinea. But it's also a concern that it absolutely destroys anything that they had potentially brewing in regards to how Papua New Guinea are improving as a nation in the men's game. There is multiple different options there because financially I don't think it's sustainable. Conceding 17 tries at international level is outrageous. And BKN, just remember, that was Papua New Guinea. Like, imagine some other international women's teams for rugby league, right? Less developed, because at least Papua New Guinea is not as developed as Australia, New Zealand, and whatnot, but it's passionate about it. So they're still actually like big time players. It's just, unfortunately, they don't have the facilities. They don't have the same kind of programming. It's just as simple as that. No, I understand what you're saying, Craig Howard. I'm trying to put it into a better way as well. Safard says, because it's very difficult to talk about that kind of stuff, but you have to. It's a professional critique. It's not like you're insulting them. You're just critiquing based on the professional game that you're watching. You can't tell me that 84-0 is in a game that should be critiqued. Do you see any chance Tonga can even get this a 1-12 game? I think there's a chance, Safard, because I'm not 100% convinced in this lineup for Australia, but I have gone Australia 13+. I do think that Australia should win this game 13+. However, as Lager Borsig says before, you look at that Tonga team from 2019, the last time they played Australia, the Tonga team was arguably worse. You could argue that it was worse. And Australia's team was on paper better by a decent margin, in my personal opinion, compared to today. So, like, there is obviously that potential, but I think that if Australia was to lose this game, it's because the combinations just don't work. It's not because they've come into this game too cocky. Australia back in 2019 came into that game too cocky. 100% they came into that game too cocky. Anyone can win in their day, especially if you believe you've already won before the final hits. Fans can do that because they don't have any impact in the game whatsoever. There's no impact from the fans. But the players absolutely cannot. Kafusi has that shit haircut still. Mate, Kafusi's never not getting that haircut. Hey, listen, I don't have to get that haircut. I don't have to get that haircut, Daz. Remember when I said that? I would get that Felice Kafusi haircut if the Doggies made the grand final? Hey, well, listen, and that haircut for me. Oh no, Takwara said no. My boy Takwara prevented me from that haircut. No, not Xpro says go Tonga. Good luck, Wallabies. Don't know where the Wallabies come into this, but. I don't think Tonga's that much better at rugby union. They're actually quite distance behind Australia, still in rugby union. We complain every day, every second of my life. I complain about the Wallabies and how much they hurt my soul every single second in history. But sure, go the Wallabies, mate. You know, go the Wallabies. Wait, hold on. I've got to switch it across here from the women's game into the men's game. We're going to switch it across. See, says, are you happy with the 4 teams that are going to Vegas next season, or it doesn't really matter to you? Well, I'm going to be there. I'm happy because Sharkies play. It's my mum's team. That's why we're going across. So I'm looking forward to that. I think Sharks-Panthers is a good game, especially considering it was the prelim from this year. I think that works out well. And I've told you guys, I believe the Sharks are actually my favourites to win the competition next year, genuinely, with Adam Fanua-Blake coming across. So I think that's a really good matchup. I think that's a massive matchup. I think that no matter what, you're going to get a bad matchup at some point because you're going to have to bring over a Raiders or a Dolphins or a Titans or, you know, all these kind of teams, Knights, and you're going to be like, ugh. But it's the occasion, man. You know, it's the same amount of people are ultimately going to turn up, right? The same amount of people are ultimately going to turn up for most of them. And you just got to hope the game develops enough that you get the Americans coming out to the Vegas games and whatnot. And I do think you'll see an uptick this year, and I think you'll see a more so of an uptick in 2026. Is when you'll start to see a lot more people coming through the gates. Because we do get a lot of people from America commenting on here saying, oh, I'm looking forward to going to Vegas, all this sort of stuff, right? So it's a development. It is a product that is currently being developed. But yeah, I'm happy with it. Raiders, Warriors doesn't really interest me a great deal, but I will get behind the Warriors in that game. I'll vlog for the Warriors. There won't be as many vlogs next year. I dare you to go up to him and tell him that he has a shit haircut. Well, bro, it's not that deep, mate. It's not that deep. I think he even knows he's got a shit haircut. I think he does it for the meme, bro. He doesn't care. It's not that deep, bro. It really isn't that deep. He wouldn't give a shit that people talk about his haircut. Safard says, I heard the Sharks might be getting rid of Trindle for Atkinson to be a starter. That would make no sense considering that Trindle was arguably their best player in the finals, and I don't even think it was arguable. I think that Trindle was clearly their best player in the finals, and I believe Trindle should be the 7 and Nico Hines should be the 6. Where have you heard this? I haven't heard this. But then again, I haven't been completely in touch with all the rugby league news while I've been here in Fiji, but I would find that ridiculous. I'd find that crazy. I'd take my favouritism away from the Sharks if they did that. If they took out Trindle and they kept Nico Hines the 7 and put Atkinson the 6, or even Hines the 6 and Atkinson the 7, I'm taking my favouritism off the Sharks 100%, and I'll give it to the Storm. Because that would be such a ridiculous decision and manoeuvre, considering that Trindle was very clearly their best player towards the back end of the year once they got rid of that nonsense in regards to the driving stuff. The Dingo says, so happy for Paseka, man. He's finally starting to find himself, and I feel he can be really damaging. Happy for Lehigh too, half a season, and he's already playing a major role at rep level. Yeah, I personally would have given it to Toltau Quali here, to be fair, but I can understand why Lehigh Pawade is there. He had a great year for Manly. No Tix Pro says, our national rugby team is ours. Yeah, they are. I'm not going to lie, but then again, so is ours. So, don't worry, mate. So is ours, mate. So is ours. Ours a little bit better. Like, we'd probably still put 50 past you. Yeah, but with that being said, we still suck really bad. Yeah, no, we suck really bad. Fair enough, Zach. So far says, yeah, just on one of those NRL rumour pages on Instagram. There's so many NRL rumour pages on Instagram now, you've got to be very careful where you see stuff. I'm not saying that it's not right. I'm not saying that Trindle, there isn't a rumour there. There potentially could be, and potentially it could happen, but I would absolutely find that ludicrous from Craig Fitzgibbon and the Sharks to do if they got rid of Trindle, considering his back end of the year form. I heard rumours Cobbo linked to the North Queensland. I don't think that's happening to you. I don't think that's happening. I think they're more so looking for a tough, hard-working centre, and I don't know if Cobbo is that kind of player that you'd be looking at in regards to that. I think you want a little bit more... what's the word for it? Consistent toughness. Selwyn Cobbo is one of the highest error rates in the competition across all players. He has one of the highest error rates across all players in the competition. So, yeah, I think that it's not really a Cowboys kind of signing. But sure, if they need to do it, then sure. I heard Langer is off the Titans. Did you, Slabber? You heard Alan Langer's off the Titans, is he? You reckon? Maybe he's going with Gordy. Is that what you heard, Slabber? Where do you hear this from? Where do you hear this from? Nick Hill says, evening all, get around your son. Zach Hewitt says, can't believe he called you keyboard warriors. You had your hand out to shake his hand. No. My hand was in his hand. We were shaking hands. We were shaking hands. I put my hand and shake it. We were shaking hands. A keyboard warrior. Anyway, we're not going to talk about that. But Australian time coming out to the field. Just chatting shit. Oh, I know, Slapper. Don't you worry, I know. You shit chatter. Chatting shitter. Don't you worry. But alright, Australian time coming out to the field here. They are coming out onto the field. Fired up, son. Fired up. Oh no, what's that? Yeah, true. Cobbo could do incredible stuff at the silliest areas, which is the last thing cows need. Correct. Do you see that stat? Every team Panthers have beat... Oh my gosh, we go over this again. Guys, the Storm are not sucking Craig Bellamy. I'm not even listening to it. Lads, come on, man. Stop buying into this dribble. Look at the context behind the Eels. Look at the context behind the Rabbitohs. Look at the context behind the Broncos. Like, dead set. People read into some absolute dribble, man. Like, absolute dribble. And they start saying, oh, well, Craig Bellamy. Like, if Craig Bellamy goes at the end of this year, it's got nothing to do, absolutely jack shit to do with the Panthers. If Craig Bellamy leaves, it's because he'll be retiring, because he's been around for so long, it's been rumoured. But people will go, it's the Panthers good. Shut up. Why do you shake your hand if he's going to talk shit because you're Muppet? Don't forget to refresh that scoreboard. Thank you very much, Jay. Thank you very much, Mr. Jays. Thank you very much. All right, wait, let me just refresh this. Well, I can't really refresh it just yet because the game hasn't actually started yet. By the way, VPN from tomorrow, not happening. Not happening because it's like stopping. The internet is so slow with this VPN on. That's for sure. 1 more hour, right, bro? No, the game's starting now. The game's starting now, Notix. The game is starting right now. They're about to sing the national anthems right now. I am seriously considering going off the VPN and just streaming from the VPN, VIPbox.tv or whatever. The Rabbitohs didn't sack the coach that coached them when they lost to Penrith in the grand final. Yeah, that's a great point as well, Daz, mate. That is a fantastic point as well. I didn't even think of that, but you're right. And also, they didn't sack Wayne Bennett. There was no sacking of Wayne Bennett. All right, national anthem's coming up here. Daz, mate, stand up, mate. You better be singing that national anthem of Tonga. Come on. Come on now. Better be singing that national anthem of Tonga. I'm dead set considering turning this VPN off. I really am. I consider it. You're going to stop me. It just means I'll probably be a little bit further behind the score, but it'll be what it is. It'll be what it is. Don't forget to hit that thumbs up button and subscribe while we're waiting here, guys. Australia vs Tonga. Let's see how far behind it is comparatively to where KO would be. Usually it is a little bit behind. Usually. Gee, she's got a great voice, this lady. Oh, now KO seems to be going alright. Okay, what's that at? Oh, Union NRC. Australia vs Tonga, it reckons it is. Craig goes, Kevin comes in. Waiting to see if this is going to work here. Couldn't care less about UFC right now, bruh. Trying to figure this out. Trying to figure this out so that we don't miss it, man. Come on. Maybe if I exit. This stream might cut out for 2 seconds here, guys. The stream might cut out for 2 seconds, so just give me a quick little squizzeruno to take off this VPN so that the internet should be flowing nicely. And let me know in the chat, guys. Let me know in the chat what